3 cities, 9 games for the Cardinals on this road trip. It begins tonight in Washington. Getting the start for St. Louis, Kyle Loge, the right-hander, 5-2 on the season. Youth will be served once again tonight in the outfield. Brian Barton getting a start for Tony La Russa, as well as Joe Mather. He's in right field this evening. Ryan Ludwig in center for the Cardinals. Our nation's capital, the scene. Baseball next on FSN Midwest. Brand new ballpark for the Washington Nationals. We're in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. The St. Louis Cardinals and the Nationals wrapping up their season series with 3 games here at this brand new facility. The month of June, a lot of road games coming up for the Cardinals starting tonight. A 9-game road trip, the off day mixed in between Houston and Cincinnati, then back home against the Philadelphia Phillies and the Kansas City Royals, then back out on the road. Real tough road trip with Boston, Detroit, and Kansas City. Al Hrabosky, Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to the broadcast booth. And certainly a real disappointing way to end the homestand last night, Al. So how did the Cardinals bounce back tonight?
Well, they're on the road, and of course we all know how tough it is to play on the road. And this is going to be a real test in the month of June with so many games away from Busch, particularly when you get into the Knicks road trip when you're playing an interleague play. But you know, the Cardinals right now are one of only 4 clubs that have a winning record on the road.
Your impression of this ballpark?
I'm not impressed with it from the outside. I like it much better inside. It's really attractive. It kind of flows nicely, and if you're as high as we are, you can see the nation's capital.
And they say so far it has played fair at this ballpark, but it's starting to get hot as the summer months approach, so let's see if the ball will carry. Let's take a look at our 4 key matchups, and it's the pitching matchups for this series. We'll start at the bottom. That's Mike Parisi. Tony La Russa saying he will get that second start against Tim Redding. Todd Wallemeyer against John Lannon. And then tonight's a matchup, Kyle Loge and Odalis Perez. What do you think we can expect from Loge?
Loge has won his last couple. He's been pitching very effectively his last 3 times out, and so we just hope that trend continues. You know, he is a little bit streaky, and hopefully this good streak will continue.
On the other side, the lefty, Odalis Perez.
Well, you know, he's pitching very, good quality baseball. He's kind of the tough luck loser. He's not getting a lot of wins, but he's keeping his team right in games.
There are some of these hitters in this lineup for Tony La Russa that have had great success against Odalis Perez. No surprise here, one of them, the game's best, Albert Pujols. How has he done against Perez? We'll talk about it when we come back. He's licking his chops because Albert Pujols has a chance to face Odalis Perez tonight.
Doesn't matter what team Odalis Perez is pitching for, Albert Pujols always sees his release points so well and usually has phenomenal success.
On the season, 14 bombs for Pujols and 39 RBIs. He'll bat third. He's coming up in the first inning. More from Nationals Park in just a moment here on FSN Midwest. Before the All-Star break, the St. Louis Cardinals will play 24 road games, and it starts tonight in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital. Game number 1 of a 3-game series between St. Louis and Washington. Kyle Loge will make the start for St. Louis, looking for his 6th victory of the season. 5-2 is his record this year. Albert Pujols is in the lineup. There's Ronnie Belliard. Baseball next from Washington. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Bud Light Lime, the superior drinkability of Bud Light with a splash of 100% natural lime flavor. By Auto Tire. For the lowest prices in town, 26 locations to serve you. You ought to go to Auto Tire, the tire pros. By Steak and Shake, famous for steak burgers. By Geico Direct, a 15-minute phone call could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Southwest Airlines. With Southwest Airlines, you're now free to be more productive. Visit southwest.com today. That's the World War II Memorial here in Washington, D.C., which is absolutely gorgeous. A phenomenal, phenomenal sight here in our nation's capital. And the Nationals finally take to the field. We have had a light rain here And it just began about 5 minutes ago. The umpiring crew was debating as to whether or not to start this game on time, but apparently we're going to get this thing going on time. But we understand that there is more rain in the forecast and headed right here to Washington. Let's take a look to Tony La Russa's lineup. It'll be Brian Barton, the left fielder, leading it off, followed by the other rookie, Joe Mather, in right, then Albert Pujols. Ryan Ludwig, 8 career games against Washington. He's 8 for 20 with a home run. He'll bat cleanup. Troy Gloss, the third baseman. Yadier Molina is the catcher. Then Aaron Miles, Cal Loge, and Cesar Izturis. The Rico starter for Washington. He's good here at home. 13th start tonight. And that's Odalis Perez of the Nationals.
For the most part, he always gives his team a chance to win. And this is a former National League All-Star. Won 15 games back in 2002 with the Dodgers. But this is a team that is decimated by injuries. Their opening day lineup, half of it's on the disabled list. And they don't score a lot of runs.
The Nationals currently ranked second in the National League with a .987 fielding percentage. Around the Horn brought to you by Auto Tire. Langerhans, Millage, Casto in right field. Then Boone, Guzman, Lopez, and Young along the infield. Jesus Flores is their catcher. Odalis Perez, 3-5 in his career against St. Louis. Manny Acta, second season as the manager of the Washington Nationals. A record of 97 and 123. But as Al told you, they have a lot of injuries to key players, and the biggest is Ryan Zimmerman, who was just put on the 15-day disabled list, retroactive to May 26. And he has a tear in his non-throwing shoulder, so the Cardinals catch a break where Zimmerman and his bat will not be in this lineup for Washington.
8 of the Nationals currently reside on the DL, including 5 members of Acta's opening night starting lineup. Zimmerman, Nick Johnson, Austin Kearns, Ronnie Belliard, Paul Lo Duca, and they also have their closer, Chad Cordero, on the disabled list. So they are just besieged by injuries, and they played pretty well after a very poor start.
And there's what you're talking about. Kearns and Belliard, who was part of the Cardinals World Series team. Nick Johnson, Paul Lo Duca, Ryan Zimmerman, all out for Washington. All very much key components to their lineup. And the first pitch is a strike to Brian Barton, and we're underway. 82 degrees here in Washington. This brand new ballpark. The 0-1 pitch to Barton in the leadoff spot tonight. Fouled back, and that's strike 2. The Nationals won 5 of 6 in 2007 to win their first season series at the Cardinals' expense since 1999. Dark clouds rolling in. 0-2 the count on Barton. A little surprised to see that we start this game having just taken a look at the radar. It looks like there is more rain coming this way. The 0-2 pitch. And Barton is hit by the pitch. So the leadoff man for St. Louis is on. And it brings in Joe Mather. Certainly not what Perez wanted to do on an 0-2 pitch.
No, but tell right now he's going to try and pitch inside. Got that breaking ball, changeup, slider. Fastball not as good as it once was, but he's going to try and work the corners and see if the Cardinals can't jump out to a lead.
Joe Mather, the right fielder. A couple of base hits last night. He's now 4 for 14. No home runs and 1 RBI. Short lead at first by Barton. And a big cut by Mather and a swing and a miss.
It's a changeup. He's obviously, some hitters do not pick up the ball as well as others. And the one guy we say that always picks up the ball better than anybody against Perez is Albert Pujols.
No doubt. 0-1 pitch in the air out to right center field. Lastings Millage, who came over from the New York Mets, puts it away for the first out. Back to first Barton. Up to the plate for the first time tonight, Albert Pujols. How do the Cardinals respond after such a tough loss last night? And you look at the first couple of months of this regular season, that's just one of many that the Cardinals have had that have just been gut-wrenching this year.
This team is very resilient, and they'll put it behind them. But it sure would be nice to get off to a nice start on this 9-game road trip in a very tough month with only 7 more home games in the month of June. So club's going to spend most of the time packing and unpacking suitcases.
Is it saying too much, Al, to make the statement it's a make or break type month, even though it's just 30 days, but all these road games coming up?
Well, I think that in many cases, the way the Cubs are playing, that you could sit there and say that they could bury themselves. But this team is one that's been very resilient, as we talked about, and they just don't let certain things bother them. So I think that when it's all said and done, we'll know a little bit more about the character of this team.
The 1-0 pitch to Albert Pujols is taken outside. You just saw those numbers against this lefty. Pujols, eye-popping numbers against Perez. 2 balls and no strikes. Runner at first is Barton. It's 4:02 to center field. 3:36 down the left field line. 3:35 down the right field line. The 2-0. Misses on the outside corner. 3-0. They say so far the ballpark is played fair, but as we mentioned in our open, you see what Pujols has done against left-handed pitching, near 500, but it's starting to get a little bit hotter now in this area, and as the heat gets here, will the ball start to fly out of this ballpark?
You never really know until you start playing.
They say the place where it flies the best is there's red seats in left center field. That's where Ryan Zimmerman homered on their opening night, a walk-off home run, and it's right there. They say that the ball really travels well to that portion of the ballpark.
And then a rain, and it's a little unusual for us, as a few minutes before game time they came in and closed our windows.
The 3-1 is pulled foul.
As we have no protection from the rain here.
And believe us, we are in the highest seats that this ballpark can possibly put you at.
We thought we were high at Pittsburgh.
Oh, David Eckstein.
Yeah.
Put on a little weight.
No wonder we let him go.
3-2 on Pujols. Barton, the runner at first. Is he running? There he goes. Grounded back to Perez. He'll go to second. Safe there. They drop it onto first. He's safe. And again, this is a team with a .987 fielding percentage. They don't make many mistakes, and that could prove to be costly here in this first inning.
Well, Barton was running on the pitch, and I thought he was going to be safe there anyway.
And Perez really took his time, too. Then he let it fly.
And look at the young second baseman, just took his eye off it.
It's Felipe Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez always played with a little flash. Kind of looked to see how the return throw to first and didn't look it into the glove. So Perez tries to get the lead man, and Lopez just blows it.
So fielder's choice, E4 on the play, and here's Ryan Ludwig. And he takes a ball outside. Ludwig is batting .321, 13 home runs and 42 RBIs. The runner at first is Albert Pujols. Barton out at second. The outfield is very deep. In the air, out to shallow left. That's a base hit and past Langerhans. It'll roll all the way to the track. Pujols will stop at third. It's an RBI base hit for Ludwig. He winds up at second base. The Cardinals have the lead 1-0 as Barton scores. So it's a single RBI, E7 on the play.
Wow. Every time you talk about a team that's pretty good defensively, and hard for him to believe that that ball, it hasn't rained that hard, but it sure reacted as it skips on him and gets by him. Now you have runners at second and third.
So 2 errors at the top of the first, and here's Troy Gloss. Could have been out of the inning with a double play. Still only 1 out. And Gloss on the season, hitting .264. He was 2 for 10 in the first series against Washington back home. 4 home runs, 34 driven in for the Cardinal third baseman. Cardinals with 24 road games and 14 home games leading up to the All-Star break. And I think on paper you'd have to say that the second of these 9-game road trips this month, at least the first portion of it, is the one that could be very, very tough with Boston, Detroit, and Kansas City. Boston, the reigning champs. Detroit, you don't know what you're going to get. Loaded with talent. Pujols stays put at third, and the play made by Aaron Boone. And Kansas City, it's like their World Series when they play the St. Louis Cardinals.
Cardinals are 0-6. Regular season play against Detroit Tigers.
Beat them when it mattered, right?
No, beat them when it counted.
And it makes absolutely no sense that here we are over 10 years of interleague play, and yet it's 3 years in a row that the Cardinals will face Detroit in Detroit. Ridiculous. We have not been to Baltimore. We have not been to Anaheim. Well hit out to deep left field. Langerhans is back to the track, and it's gone over the wall. It's a 3-run homer for Molina. And the Cardinals lead it 4-0. Molina, with 2 outs here in the first, makes it 4-0 St. Louis.
I think that blow helps tell you how much of a carryover effect last night's game was.
Yeah.
Molina really jumped on this ball. Nice fluid swing and sends Langerhans back, and he runs out of real estate. Perez just didn't get that ball far enough in. Down and in, you drop the bat head.
And here is Miles. There's a look at Mark Mulder, who was on this trip specifically to work with both Dave Duncan and Marty Mason, trying to figure it out. The 1-0 is slapped foul by Miles, who's at second base tonight. So Kyle Lowe's, trying to win number 6 tonight, has been given a 4-run lead. Here's a 1-1 pitch. Lots of room into left center field. You can see where Lasting's millage is shallow as he stands on the W, the emblem out there in the grass. Still trying to figure out whether or not Lasting's millage is number 1 in everyday player. Is he a center fielder? He was a guy that the Mets were not willing to give up, but finally had to. There's a look at millage at the end of last season.
A ton of prospects that turn into suspects.
2-2 pitch, and Miles pulls it foul. Say the crowds have been a little bit disappointing at this new ballpark. Some folks say that it's tough to get to as far as trying to find parking in this area of town. They have the Metro, which drops fans off right by the main entrance of this ballpark. And taken there by Lopez, and safe at first is Miles. What is going on here defensively with Washington?
It's an infield base hit. Miles is going to take it, and good reason why. You always hustle. But watch, he fields this on the outfield grass. This is a former All-Star.
Wow.
Miles hustling all the way, and just kind of took a little extra time. Didn't rush that throw at all when the inning is extended.
Here's Kyle Lowe's, the 8th place hitter. A foul tip and strike 1. So at least the Cardinals get Lowe's through this lineup here in the first. We've seen 2 errors, one by Langerhans in left, the base hit by Ludwig, and then the ball hit back to Perez. Felipe Lopez dropped it. Lowe's pulls it to third, thought about going to second. A high throw there.
Lopez wasn't covering second.
Wow. And some boos from the fans here in Washington. Yadier Molina with his 3rd home run. RBIs 21, 22, and 23. 4-0 after a half inning here in Washington. Molina with the home run. Cardinals a 4-0 lead. As Kyle Lowe's goes to work here in the bottom of the first, and here's the lineup that he will face, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It's been a bounce-back year for Christian Guzman. 72 hits this season, 5th most in the National League. Lopez, Guzman, and Millage here in the first, and Young, Boone, Flores, Casto, Langerhans, and Perez. Our Rico starter for the Cardinals is Kyle Lowe's.
Been pitching very well of late. Ranked 2nd in the National League in fewest home runs allowed. Cardinals are 6-6 overall in his starts. He's 5-2.
Streaky though.
Yeah, he got off to a 3-0 start. He has won his last 2 games. He had a couple losses and 2 no decisions before he went on this current 2-game winning streak.
Felipe Lopez, the former shortstop for Cincinnati. Relationship with Jim Bowden, the former GM with the Reds, and now they're both here in Washington. And you're right, Al. I don't think Lopez was at the bag to cover for the force play that was hit at third, and that's why you saw the double clutch that time by their third baseman, Aaron Boone.
Right.
Little low, and it's 2-2. Opposite way, Barton is back near the track and makes the catch on the track. Let's meet the Cardinals defensively tonight as we go around the horn. Brought to you by Auto Tire. Barton in left, Ludwig in center, Joe Mather is in right, Troy Gloss over at third, Isturis at short, Miles at second, Pujols at first, Molina's behind the plate. 1-1 his record in 5 career starts against the Nationals for Kyle Lowe's. It brings in Christian Guzman. I always liked this guy when he was with Minnesota. You've watched him in defensively. We saw them in interleague play a few years ago, and he was one of the top shortstops in the American League, outside of Garcia Parra and A-Rod at that time.
Yeah, remember, he was just a triples machine. Tremendous speed. Came over here first year and played very poorly.
Slaps this one into left center field, and that'll scoot by Ludwig and all the way to the wall. A double for Guzman.
Missed 06 with a shoulder surgery, but he's been one of their best hitters, and you know, extra base hits has been his thing. There's 73 hits, now he has 25 extra base hits.
And it brings in Lasting's Millage. You could see that Ludwig could go ahead and try to just stop it, knowing that Barton was backing up. That ball is scooting pretty quickly on the outfield grass with this rain.
You can see the way Ludwig slid across there. You're right. So that now explains why that ball got by Langerhans.
Here's Millage. First pitch is strike. Hitting just .246. 3 home runs, 21 RBIs. Cardinals will throw Todd Wellemeyer tomorrow. The National League's pitcher of the month for May. He was 4-0 with a 2.19 ERA. It was just about a year ago that Cardinals picked him up. Didn't have a job, and now a year later, pitcher of the month in the National League.
That's amazing.
Great story.
You know, a first place club like the Mets, or first division club, probably doesn't have the patience to wait for a guy like Millage or to find out how good he's going to be. So if he's going to develop into a player, it's going to be with a club like this.
Joe Mather gets himself in a throwing spot, makes the catch, and fires it back into the infield. Got himself in position to make the throw in case that runner was going to tag.
Now, we've noticed that he looks like he has worked an awful lot on his defense. Backing up, squared around to where he'd be in position, where his body was at the right throwing angle, comes forward ever so slightly so he'd have momentum behind the throw. Saw that he wasn't going, so he just eases off a little bit and hits the cutoff man. You have to anticipate that he's going to go and get in position for the throw.
Dmitri Young, the Cardinals' first-round selection, 4th overall, back in 1996.
It's our first view of Dmitri this year. He was on the disabled list with a bad back when they came through town.
very good numbers in his career against St. Louis. Jim Bowden, back in '97, pulled off a deal to give the Cardinals Jeff Brantley. And Young was shipped to Cincinnati.
Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
Bad trade.
Yes, it was.
Dimitri, comeback player of the year last year, and also the represented Washington at the All-Star game.
And with the year that he had, because Nick Johnson was out with his injury, Dimitri Young got all the playing time over at first base and made the most of it and turned that into a 2-year contract extension.
Got a 2-year contract and then got to sit on the bench.
Yep. Outfield straight away. The 2-1 is on the inside corner, 2-2 with 2 outs and a runner at second base and a 4-0 Cardinals lead. Always liked Dimitri, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good guy. We saw him grow up right in front of us. And
the ball scoots away from Molina. So Guzman advances to third. So wild pitch charge to Loge. Steady downpour here at the ballpark. The umbrellas are out. Folks are trying to head for cover.
Dimitri had some issues after he left St. Louis, but liked what we saw when he was with us.
Ground ball to second. Miles over to Albert. And Washington strands a runner. It's Turris, Barton, Mather coming up. It's 4-zip St. Louis. Poor first inning defensively, Al, for the Nationals.
Well, right here, Lopez drops the ball. Longerhans has a base hit go by him. Here Felipe Lopez waits too long and Miles beats it out. And even on the final play of the inning, a routine ground ball, you know, Boone tried to throw to second base for the force out, and Lopez wasn't covering there and had to reverse direction and throw to first.
Is Turris up the middle? That's a base hit. So the Cardinals, first time through this lineup, saw their leadoff guy Barton will dig in, hit by a pitch. You saw the single by Ludwig and an RBI, 3-run homer by Molina, Miles with an infield hit, and Turris with a base hit. You can hear a little bit of that popping noise. That's the rain hitting our microphones down on the field. So we take you inside the game. We make you feel like you're here, Al.
I thought it was Pop Goes the Weasel.
No, no, no. That's the rain, Al. That's the rain. Check on his Turris, who has 5 steals this year. Wouldn't be surprising if you saw his Turris pick up 15, 20 stolen bases this year.
I know Tony likes what he's seen both defensively and offensively, and I think he's trying to plant that seed, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Fouled back by Barton, who's seen his playing time increase as of late with all these lefties. Haven't seen much of Van Kiel or Kennedy or Schumacher.
Well, and one of the reasons why Duncan was sent down, because enough left-handed bat wasn't going to get any playing time, and try and send him down for about 10 days and get Chris righted. You have to stay down for a minimum of 10 days. The only exception is to replace an injured ball player.
Kelvin Jimenez, after he got lit up for 3 home runs on Saturday, winds up on the DL.
Yeah, hurt his hand. Was it hitting?
I guess so.
Or the
hitting
phantom,
something.
the phantom injury?
Mm-hmm. Runner goes, and the pitch is hit into right field as Turris has to touch second and hurry up to get back to the bag. This is going to be a double play. The strong throw from right field. And the
How about our umpire with a very athletic move? Dana Demuth, the crew chief, kind of smiling out there. He says he's okay, but that may be an indication of how slippery. This Turris really did not take or rush it to get back. And there's our home plate umpire. Hey, they didn't mow that blade of grass there. You know,
right field.
But watch the umpire.
Has to touch second and hurry up to get back to the bag. This is going to be a double play. The strong throw from right.
He's got the out call, though.
That's pretty funny. 2 outs and nobody on. 4-0 Cardinals.
As long as it's not you or I.
That's right. Here is Joe Mather. First pitch in the dirt. Here's another look at our umpire.
Hustling down there, and then.
Oh! Out! Got him!
Yeah, but that takes a little concentration and make that call like that just all in one motion. Now the bad thing is he might think the field conditions are getting a little bad.
I was thinking that too. We don't have to worry about the players slipping. It's now the umpires. 2 balls, no strikes. Pujols on deck. If Mather can extend this inning, we'll see Albert.
Seems like the umpires have had a rough start to the season too with injuries.
There was an article today in USA Today about the maple bats and how Major League Baseball is now going to review that situation as to whether or not they should continue with those bats because of the dangerous situation that it poses once they break. Not just for the players, but for fans, umpires, even coaches that have been hit. 3-1 on Joe Mather. And that is ball 4, and it brings in Albert.
Well, Perez has got nerves, doesn't he?
As you've talked about before, sometimes you think about that guy on deck and not the man at the plate.
Here you go. Albert owns me, so I'll walk the man in front of him.
The odds are on my side. He can't be this good.
He is.
But he is right. 4-0 St. Louis. 2 outs here in the Cardinals half of the second. Short lead at first by Mather. The pitch to Albert. Pulled foul. How about all the attention that's been given to Jabba Chamberlain moving from the bullpen to the starting rotation? And he is starting tonight for the Yankees against Roy Halladay.
Oh, good luck.
Good luck is right. Halladay is off to a good start. All those complete games that he's had, that's slowly hitting a foul ball. 0-2 the count on Pujols. It was a fielder's choice and then an E4 the first time that he was up. We showed you that list of the 5 members of Manny Acta's opening night starting lineup on the DL. There are 8 Nationals currently on the disabled list. Just trying to get healthy with the Nationals. The 0-2 pitch to Pujols. Hit out to right. And put away for the 3rd and final out. The Cardinals strand their second runner. Aaron Boone leads it off when we come back. Best Damn Sports Show period is coming up later tonight here on FSN at 11. And don't want to miss this. WWE Michelle McCool drops by. Eddie George will be a guest host. It's all on the Best Damn Sports Show period. Later tonight.
Changing some of the characters, aren't they?
Yes, they are. And the first pitch is Loge was slipping, it looked like, on the mound to Aaron Boone as a ball, their third baseman. Just had one plate appearance against the Cardinals earlier this year, and he's 0 for 1. The 1-0 pitch. Hit sharply to his Turris. Nice play. The soft hands out there, and he spins and throws and picks up the first out here in the second.
Tony always talking about how he likes to watch his Turris field, and he had to be pleased with that one. That was really a slick play on a slick field. He's a slickster.
Yes, he is. Good play. Head groundskeeper keeping a watchful eye on our playing surface tonight.
Not happy.
Not at all. That's a mean-looking groundskeeper right there.
Put a Fu Manchu off of him, and he'd scare a lot of people.
I think he does a little thing where he puts the rake down, walks away, pounds his fist, and then gets the rake back.
No, I'm just trying to think which one of the presidents he is when they have the president's race.
You think he gets it an outfit, huh?
Oh, yeah.
It's part of
Maybe
the
he's
dual
George.
The dual role that he has to have here in Washington. Well, up here we can see our nation's capital right across the way.
Yeah, it's a little wet.
Saw the shot earlier of the World War II memorial, which is just in.
You and I visited that together.
Boy, that was remarkable,
Remember
wasn't
that?
it? Yeah. 2-2, the count on Flores, the catcher. And fielded by Troy Gloss, 2 away. So good start here for Cal Loge. Let's take a look at All-Star balloting. July 15th, the 2008 All-Star Game will be at Yankee Stadium. It kicks off, and vote for your favorite Cardinals player to be selected in the starting lineup. Vote online at stlcardinals.com or mlb.com. Love to see that guy head to the Midsummer Classic. Ryan Ludwig, and as of right now, he deserves it.
Well, we'd like to see several. You know, Albert be on that club. Like to see Ludwig, several of the Cardinal pitchers.
Here's a high fly ball out to left. Barton will back up right in front of the Bud Light sign. And the Nationals go 1-2-3. 4-0 St. Louis as we move to the top of the third. You can see they're working on the mound here in Washington as Loge slipped a couple of times. It's Michael Milken between Al and I, and of course we have prostate cancer research that we want to talk about. It is a month of Father's Day, so explain exactly your role with what's going on with Major League Baseball and Fox Sports as well.
Well, every year we have this home run challenge. Starts on June 1st to Father's Day, and we raise money for prostate cancer research 100%. This is our 12th season. And a couple years ago we set the Guinness Book of Records, all 30 teams in 20 days, 20 parks. And we've seen St. Louis win a lot of ball games in that 12 years and hit a lot of home runs. That home run today was worth about $20,000 for prostate cancer research right out of the box.
That's great. I know that Tommy Lasorda has been a big part of this as well.
He has been our ambassador. He's in Los Angeles for the draft this week, and then he'll be hitting the road with us. But when we come to St. Louis, I don't think there's a restaurant in town that he doesn't have his picture up there.
Cheetos.
And he hasn't paid for a meal yet.
But he is a great ambassador for baseball, and what a great team the Cardinals are, and what a great city for baseball.
And Michael, this is something that's so we really do need to talk about, because if someone lives long enough, you're going to get prostate cancer. It may not eventually kill you, but you know there are far too many deaths for what the research and the technology that we have today.
That one didn't carry far enough.
No, that was Ryan Ludwig flying out to right, and it brings in Troy Gloss.
Well, 1 in 6 men will be affected on their life by prostate cancer, and since we started this program, the death rate has fallen by about 50%. So this program with Major League Baseball and Fox has been really a strong program in getting people to get out and get tested and awareness, etc.
Who's involved this year with the Cardinals?
Well, your manager, who's just a phenomenal person, Tony, has been a leader from the manager standpoint. Albert has been great, and this is about his 4th or 5th year. And Cesar Esteras so we have 2 reps this year from the Cardinals. And from the top office, William DeWitt and Bill and everyone down, it's been tremendous. We have raised probably over $2 million just on home runs by the Cardinals.
I wish I could remember the doctor's name, but it's a doctor in St. Louis that discovered the PSA test.
Well, he was one of the leaders. Dr. Canelona was his name.
Yeah.
And the money raised, you have major research centers in St. Louis. It was 15 years ago that I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they gave me 12 months to live, and I'm sure the happiest guy in the ballpark here tonight.
I'm sure
guys.
you are. As Troy Gloss draws the one-out walk, and it brings in Yadier Molina. So you will have this program go on for another couple weeks and
till Father's Day, June 15th, and
Okay.
we're looking forward to everyone wearing their blue wristbands, which we have here. I have my jersey, my Keep Dad in the Game jersey here, which was the theme, which actually we started with the Cardinals, the idea of keeping Dad in the game.
I'm assuming that Dusty Baker has been big with this too.
Dusty, Joe Torre.
Joe Torre and
Yeah.
Bob Watson.
Yep.
Those are all patients of Dr. Catalano.
And but the awareness has really allowed men to get tested, and which has helped reduce the death rate, plus all of the research.
Michael Milken is with us as we're talking about prostate cancer research, and Fox Sports has been heavily involved with this along with Major League Baseball, as Molina, who homered his first time up, a 3-run shot, raised how much money with that home run?
$20,000 today.
$20,000.
And, I think that one of the things that it used to be that you needed to be tested, say, from age 50 forward. But that's not the case anymore. You need to be before that.
I was diagnosed at 46. I'd say anyone who has any family history really needs to start at 40 today. And nutrition, we've discovered, plays a big part in it. And trying to focus on what you can do. And the concept is by adjusting your diet, you can slow the growth of prostate cancer. But anybody can participate. We have an 800 number.
There's a diving stop by Boone, goes to second, out there. And Molina will be at first with 2 outs. Great play by Aaron Boone, as we'll take a look at the replay. Boone to his left and then getting lost at second base. Very nicely done, Al.
Well, from a very sloppy defensive standpoint for the Nationals, Boone has been the sole bright spot. He makes a nice play right there and helps out Perez.
Number to call, by the way, 1-800-798-CURE, 1-800-798-2873, or online at prostatecancerfoundation.org.
That is correct. And there's a great deal of information on nutrition and what you can do. And our goal is to eliminate prostate cancer in the next 5 years as a cause of death and suffering.
Going to test Boone again, and no play as Miles picks up his second infield base hit of the night. And not knowing how many home runs are going to be hit, obviously, but roughly how much money do you think you can raise with this?
I'd say our estimate would be about 130 home runs in the 60 designated games. Our record, as you can imagine, was in the year 2000 when we had 160 hit. But each team around 1 home run per game per team. So, but we'd like to see it get a little warmer. And a little less moisture in the air, and see if we can get that ball to fly out of some ballparks a little more often.
And, of course, you're only talking when the Cardinals are batting.
That is correct.
Yeah, you're on our telecast. Don't forget.
No, they've been great. And is there a better baseball city in America than St. Louis?
No. Loge will ground to first, and the Cardinals will strand 2. Mr. Milken, always nice to see you. Best of luck again here in 2008. Let's raise millions for this.
Great. Thank you.
You bet. Michael Milken.
Al, great to see you again.
4-0, St. Louis midway through 3. This date in baseball history brought to you by Schnucks. 1955. Stan the Man hits his 300th career home run. A 5th inning, 3-run shot. That was against Brooklyn, and the Cardinals used a National League record 8 pitchers, but still lose 12-5 in that game. And, of course, Albert Pujols closing in on 300 bombs in his career. Not too far away.
4 away.
4 away.
Albert is second on the Cardinals' all-time home run list.
Loge back to work. It'll be Langerhans, Perez the pitcher, and then back to the top of the lineup in Felipe Lopez. There's a base hit to right. Just the second hit against Loge so far. Leadoff base hit for Langerhans, and let's see if Perez can sacrifice.
No, they're going to pinch hit for him. Makoviak.
Wow.
Rob Makoviak is going to pinch hit, so apparently they don't like what they've seen from Odalis, and rare time that Odalis gets knocked out after 3 innings and Albert's not a part of it.
So 3 innings, 4 runs, 5 hits. Walked 2, he hit a man, and did not strike out anybody. Gave up the 3-run homer to Yadier Molina. Here's a double play ball. Miles to short, and a double play. Miles, Isturis, and Pujols. 2 outs, and it brings in Felipe Lopez.
Well, that's how you give up a base hit. You know, you're trying to pitch to contact, and if one goes through, you just make sure you get a ground ball and turn to win the next one. Conditions are getting a little sloppy, and Miles gave a little bit of a low throw to Isturis, and it just showed you he was able to handle it.
We watched Isturis in spring training, and you know, John Mozeliak said, don't worry about it. Tony La Russa said, don't worry about it. Colomb, by the way, is warming up in the bullpen for Washington. And the one guy that said he was working with him every day was Jose Oquendo. He said, you forget that he's not been an everyday player for a couple of years now. He's going to be just fine. But you can see the tools are there. It's just a matter of getting him to play every day. And sure enough, Isturis has been fantastic defensively.
Yes, he has. And, you know, and even offensively, he's given you what you expected.
Jesus Colomb. The 1-2. Changeup outside, 2-2. And so Colomé is getting loose. And that's hit out of play and foul. 4-0 Cardinals. Molina the 3-run homer. Ludwig with the other RBI. Now with 43 on the season. Lopez fly to left his first time up. The 2-2 pitch. Fouled again. Steady rain here in Washington. And the count runs full, 3-2. 5 hits for the Cardinals, 2 for the Nationals. Another foul ball. The Nationals started 5-15 this year. And since then, they've played 519-19. Went 2-4 on their just completed 6-game road trip. San Diego and Arizona.
Of course, they don't have the depth to weather all the injuries.
Strikeout of Lopez. And the first of the night for Kyle Loge. It's 4-0. Cardinal Baseball on FSN Midwest has been brought to you by your St. Louis area Kia retailers. Kia, the power to surprise. By Aflac. Aflac, ask about it at work. And by Bank of America, the official bank of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jesus Colomé takes over for Oliver Perez. Our call to the bullpen is brought to you by Chevrolet. Record of 1-1. Worked a perfect 1-2-3 6th inning. Tuesday at San Diego. He's from the Dominican. And the previous 4 appearances, he had been roughed up. Sports Ultimate Nightly Highlight Show is here. The final score tonight, extended highlights of the Blue Jays and the Yankees, the Cubs, the Padres, plus the rest of the night in baseball. Nothing but wall-to-wall highlights on the final score. Here is Isturis, who singled his first time up. Top of the 4th, Isturis, Barton, and Mather. And the first pitch is taken for a ball. A steady rain here in Washington. They worked on the second base area, really all the sliding areas that you see around the bag. Isturis pops one foul and out of play.
It'll be a constant rotation. Pitcher's mound will probably be next half inning. Home plate.
Colomé came up with Tampa Bay back in 2001. First season with Washington a year ago, he was 5-1. At least 30 big league appearances in 6 of the last 7 seasons.
61 last year with Washington. There you see the nation's capital, silhouette of it.
That is well hit into right center field. And that ball is off the base of the wall. Isturis with a leadoff double. He's 2 for 2. Firestone leaderboard time. Let's take a look. And with the rain falling, I believe they're going to pull everybody off. Yeah, they are. Get a look at team batting average under Firestone leaderboard. And a leadoff double by Isturis, and the rain has picked up, so the tarp will be put on the field.
Not an official game yet, just 3+ innings, and try to get through this, but this has been a constant rain, and now it's a little bit heavier. Probably making the wise choice.
As we've talked about so many times, I mean, the last thing you want to do is get anybody hurt. You want to get the game in, but you don't want to get anybody hurt. So this is our Helitech rain delay here at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Rain delays, as always, brought to you by Helitech. Back with more in a moment.
Second out in the third inning, pitch count. So, yeah.
Rain delay brought to you by Helitech. It's 4-0 St. Louis here in the top of the fourth. After this timeout, a look at Spotlight on FSM Midwest. We're going to get this game in. It's 4-0 St. Louis, top of the fourth, and welcome back to Washington. It was a leadoff double against Column A in the top of the fourth by Cesar Isturis, and then the game was delayed. And Column A is taking some warm-up tosses. They have worked on this field for the better part of 45 minutes to an hour to get this ready to roll, and the Cardinals have a 4-0 lead. If you're just joining us, I'm Dan McLaughlin with my partner Al Raboski. And the Cardinals picked up their 4 runs in the first. RBI double by Ryan Ludwig, and a 3-run homer by Yadier Molina, and that chased Odalis Perez, who went 3 innings, gave up 4 runs on 5 hits. He walked 2 and gave up that big home run.
A little sloppy play by the Nationals in that first inning. They did change an error by the left fielder into a Ryan Ludwig double instead of the single and double. But Dan, a little bit of everything happened in the first.
He goes. Rounded back to. So here's what you're talking about, that sloppy play. That could have been a double play to get out of the inning. Instead, it was an air charge to Lopez. Little delay there, and Miles would beat it out for an infield hit. You saw that play by Langerhans, as you mentioned, Al, in left field, and the ball skipped on him. Initially, it was ruled a single and an error, but they have now changed that to a double and taken the air away. So, Ludwig, regardless, picks up his 43rd RBI. Molina with RBIs 21, 22, and 23.
By the way, those RBIs by Molina now, 14 of his 22 RBIs have come with 2 outs.
I'm going to chalk the lines here in left and right as Columne has been warming up, and he's set to go.
His grounds crew has had to work hard to prepare this field, but they look like they're a little understaffed.
A little?
Yeah, and of course you're doing this in the left field. You haven't done the right field yet, and the players are all ready to play baseball. Can't roll in the mud.
And the one in left is certainly still detectable and probably playable. The one in right is not. I guess a question too, Al, for Tony La Russa is Kyle Loesch. How will he feel coming back out after this long delay of nearly 2 hours?
And we don't know if that decision has been made or not. No one warming up for the Cardinals yet.
Right.
Kind of would have to believe if it's Loesch that he would be
in the bullpen maybe, or just playing catch. So Barton will be the hitter for the Cardinals, with Isturis at second base and nobody out.
Kyle Loesch is in the dugout, which you would think that he would be down the bullpen if he was going to be coming back out to this game.
And while we have a chance, let's tell you about our sponsors. Cardinal Baseball is brought to you by Rico. Move your ideas forward with Rico Dependability. By your local St. Louis Jeep dealers. And by Jack in the Box. We don't make it until you order it.
Time this game's over, I'm ordering.
Oh, yeah. You're off to play
It's a heavy
Congressional.
hitter. Yeah, I'm going to be playing Congressional tomorrow. You were going to play, but you decided to stand me up, huh?
Now we've had a little sickness over at the McLaughlin household.
Yeah, I know. You've given it to me now.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to. By the way, I have to wish my mother a happy birthday. Jane McLaughlin.
I will help you.
So go ahead and call her up if you've forgotten. You're watching the game, now you know.
And did you give the keys to the new car?
No, I have
you
not.
You told me that's what you were going to get her.
Al. And also my nephew, Sean McLaughlin. It's his birthday, so happy birthday to Sean. He turned 7.
He's 7. He's not ready for that car the new car that you ordered for your mother.
That's right.
Be delivered any moment now, right?
Yeah. Apparently it was on back order. And she turns 39.
I know you have several car sponsorships. Oh, this is thrilling baseball, isn't it?
It is. This is good stuff, Al.
Yeah.
You want Affleck? You want Affleck, Al?
I can't have a clam bake. I want Affleck.
You got Affleck then. The Cardinals lead the majors with 256 walks this year. What is the team record for walks in a season? The team record for walks in a season. 1998, McGuire with 162, so walk per game. 676 in 1998, the summer of 98. Does it seem like 10 years ago?
No, it doesn't.
Man, oh man. Sammy Sosa, such a big part of that as well, as those two would go back and forth. And Sosa has said that he has told his agent, do not search for another job for me, but I do want to play in the World Baseball Classic next spring. And then that'll be it for him. So here is Brian Barton. Barton has been hit by a pitch and lined into a double play. Column could hurry it up. We'll have 1 hour and 50 minutes. Not 151, but 150 in this rain delay. Here it comes. And the punt is a good one. A sacrifice. As Barton advances Cesares Torres over to third base.
Man, that's a big run out there. And we found out why last night, right?
You bet. Cardinals had a 4-0 lead, and then eventually lost that game 5-4. We also saw that on Friday night with Joe Mather. You know, that RBI proved to be the difference in a 5-4 game. With Mather digging in right on cue.
0 for 1 with a walk tonight.
Infield is drawn in, a 4-0 lead. Mather trying to add to it. And a check swing. The ball outside, and you look at the 4 runs, and Pujols was 0 for 2 against Odalis Perez.
A guy that he just owned. 14 for 21 with 5 home runs and 0 for 2.
1 ball, 1 strike. You talked about Mather's stance last night, Al. I want you to go a little bit more into what you were talking about, at least with the crouch of the stance of Joe Mather.
Well, you just wonder, you know, I mean, last year he started really producing the power numbers for the first time and really became a true prospect. And, you know, he's, what, 6'4", 6'5". You kind of see the crouch that he gets into and gets real low. And you just wonder if as he matures as a hitter, if he'll stand a little more erect.
The 1-1 pitch. 96. He blew it right by him.
Now they're listed as 6'4",
swing's a little bit long, isn't it?
Yeah, long swing, and so you know, high velocity pitches is going to take him. Doesn't have the quick bat to get around on some of those. So you can imagine a lot of his home runs come on hanging, breaking balls, mistake pitches. And right now, we'd just like a simple sacrifice fly.
Lots of room in the left center field. The infield is drawn in. The 2-2 pitch to Mather. Here it comes. Check swing. Did he go? Yes. They punch him out. A strikeout. And out number 2, and it brings in Albert Pujols with first base open. Thursday, June 19th, the Cardinals take on the Royals. There's one T-shirt every Cardinals fan will be wearing. That's because 25,000 fans, ages 21 and older, receive a complimentary Cardinals T-shirt courtesy of Bud Light. For ticket information, visit our website at stlcardinals.com. The Bud Light T-shirt night coming up. It's a big strikeout for Colomé, and now it's Albert Pujols. Will he see a pitch to hit? They set up way outside, and he's hit by the pitch. They were set up about a half-foot outside, and they go up and in on Pujols. Barry Weinberg to the second to top step. Cardinal trainer in the dugout. Where he's set up.
Look at it. It looks like Albert is completely off the plate too, and you can just see that ball just took off. Just didn't stay on top of it. Runs in, gets him, and Rick Ankiel is going to pinch run for Albert Pujols after that. Nobody went to him, but just decided, okay, on the slick track, and it's starting to rain again. Apparently, they just don't want to take any chances with Albert out there. Bit odd, though.
Yes, it is for a guy that played late in the ball game. So he'll go straight to the trainer's room. But you know, in that 14-4 game, Al, we were talking about that as well. The rainy night in St. Louis on Saturday, and he stayed in that game.
Right. Kind of felt like that was a game that he could have gotten an inning or two out. But really more of precaution on a wet field.
So first and third, and here's Ludwig, and here's the rain again. Ludwig a swing and a foul back. He's flying to right in a double.
Hopefully Ludwig can pick up his teammates, but once again, the Cardinals, that great ability to jump out to a lead, but then the problem of adding on.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Ludwig. Runner goes. That's Ankiel. Throw down to second, and they'll fire home. Not in time. It rarely works at this level, but it works now. As Torres scores. And again, the defense falling apart for Washington in this game.
Well, you watch Ankiel takes off, but he's going to stop before he gets all the way to the plate. And there, the second baseman, Lopez, tries to do it, but his Turris had to have a great jump, and it wasn't even close at home as he steals home.
Chance for Ludwig with Ankiel at second. And he hits it out to deep right center field. Should stay in the ballpark. Millage makes the catch on the track and doesn't realize that's the third out. Cardinals add to their lead. It's 5-0 St. Louis. Tomorrow, the Cardinals series against the Nationals continues, and it'll be presented in high definition. Live coverage begins at 5 every night for these 3 games on the East Coast. We are your home of the Cardinals, FSN Midwest.
Dan, we do not know if Loesch threw, and we have to assume he did throw inside. You know, where the Cardinals have all these new ballparks, they have home and visiting batting cages. He did not go to the bullpen, so you would think after a nearly 2-hour delay, and it was over 2 hours since he's last pitched, well over 2 hours, he had to have thrown underneath the
center field, and the catch made by Rick Ankiel as he stays in the ball game. And then what they've done is move Ludwig to right and then Mather to first. But yeah, you're right, Al. I'm sure he threw underneath. and probably did a little running and stretching as well. And that'll help his cause. 1 pitch, 1 out. Lastings Millage. He's 0 for 1. He flied to right his first time up. 5-0 Cardinals. They're in the bottom of the 4th. Light drizzle here at the ballpark. This brand new facility, Nationals Park, here in Washington, D.C. The 1-0. A little high. 2 balls, no strikes. Millage, listed at 6 foot, 210 pounds. Out of Bradenton, Florida. He was part of the Ryan Church and Brian Schneider deal. A trade within the division. Don't see that very often, do we?
No. People worry about that a lot more than they probably should.
You don't trade with a rival normally, but within the division, and I agree. I mean, if it's a trade that helps both teams, why not?
Yeah, I mean, in the case of the Nationals, they're not going to challenge the Mets for the league crown.
Does Willie Randolph make it for the entire season in New York?
Yes.
I agree with you. I think he does. If they're going to pull the trigger on firing him, they already would have done it. Unless they completely tank it, I can't see them firing him. The 3-2 pitch. Millage into shallow right. Ludwig over to make the play. Millage was the 12th overall pick back in 2003.
Draft's coming up, what, Thursday?
You bet.
Always fun. Remember when Dimitri was #1 pick of the Cardinals?
You miss Jim Hayes when we're on the road and he isn't?
Oh, Jim Hayes?
Jim
Oh,
the
yes.
cat.
Yes, I do.
We have Brent Stover with us. We certainly appreciate his contributions.
Of course, this is past Jim's bedtime now.
Very much so. A check swing and a strike on Dimitri Young.
Because he gets up so early in the morning.
That's right, Al. I know where you're going with it. The 0-2 pitch. This is low. 1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs and nobody on.
No obscene promotions for for the radio show or the STL magazine or anything.
But I enjoy St. Louis Sports Magazine, and they're doing an article on us, behind the scenes look on our broadcasts. And a strikeout of Dimitri Young, and he throws the bat, throws the helmet. Loge, and the Cardinals lead it 5-0. Cardinals have out hit Washington 6-2. It's 5-0 St. Louis. And baseball tonight is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. And Gloss looks at a strike at the knees. We're underway here in the 5th. The rain has picked up again. We're going to get this game in, Al, one way or another.
Yes, we are.
Maybe shortened, but we're going to get it in.
No further rain delays.
That's pulled towards third. Boone, long throw, and it gets away. And Gloss on his way to second. No, he says, I'm going to stay at first. You see Boone, he took about 10 steps, little bitty steps, just to get his footing.
Well, that's a get under control, as you said, and he's been one of the bright spots. And
the footing is not very good out there, obviously.
Boone out there with a tongue depressor trying to get his cleats and extract the dirt, and then does a nice job the backhand, but then struggles to set himself. And a throw like that, I mean, Dimitri is not he's just not the best defensive fielder. Look at the bounce that he gets as he little stutter steps and trying to get under control. And look at this bounce here. The bounce is high over the glove. I think it would never go that high.
Surprised that Gloss stopped it first. Thought better of it with his footing. made the turn to head to second base and then stopped at first base.
I think it's the same thing, Dan, that, you know, one, he made that break and then realized he probably wasn't going to be able to get to second base because it's such a weird and wet traction.
There's a liner that's into center field. Base hit for Yadier Molina with the rain falling and really picking up here at the ballpark.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those deals, guys. Why don't you get 3 outs and then try to get at least make this an official game before we have a stoppage in play, because we are very close to that again.
Yep.
So reminiscent of one night in Philadelphia when we were in the top of the 17th inning and Cardinals scored 5 runs, and there we go again. Nice going, Dan.
Thank you, Al. Happy to help. Come on, guys, get it going. We need some volunteers from the stands because these guys are a little bit slow.
They are out of practice.
Come on, push, push, push. Roll it on out there. Cover it up. Let's get it in. It's a Helitech rain delay here on FSN Midwest. Brian Sanchez is the new pitcher for Washington as the Nationals have taken to the field. The tarp is off the field. We're set to go as we approach 11 o'clock here on the East Coast. Another situation for Tony La Russa, Kyle Loge. Certainly, Al, if he stays in the game, you wouldn't think he'd be able to stay much longer than an inning or two. And where are our umpires?
Oh, that's really cool, isn't it? Somebody forget to tell them?
I'm right? There's no umpires out there.
Some guys that are in charge.
They're the ones that are supposed to make the decision to play. Brian Sanchez earned a win back on May 23rd against Milwaukee. That was his Nationals debut. And he received a blown save in an 11-inning 4-3 loss on the 26th against Milwaukee. And this is our Chevrolet call to the bullpen. Brian Sanchez, his 5th appearance, a record of 1-0, ERA of 3. And yes, it is starting to rain again.
And but at least we got our chalk lines down the right and left field lines.
You got to be kidding me. They already did it.
Dan, what don't you understand about rain?
Al, they already did the chalk lines.
Well, how about now? But now they're going to want the batter's box done, and I think Tony's. It's not a laughing matter to him because everybody appears to be pretty set and ready to go, and the umpires haven't made it on the scene.
And the radar is showing that there is more rain coming. And one of the cells that we saw, it was pretty big.
Hey, do a drum roll. Here comes the umpires.
There they are.
By the way, and Kyle Loesch looks like he's going to hit for himself after Miles. Albert Pujols came out of that game because of a strained calf muscle. So probably more precautionary than anything else. He was hit by a pitch. And Rick Ankiel went in to pinch run for him.
And so our situation now is runners at first and second. 2 singles by Gloss and Molina. And the batter is the switch hitting Miles. Sanchez signed with Washington as a minor league free agent back in mid-December. He pitched for Philadelphia in 2006 and 07, so you might remember his name. He's 29, a right-hander from Beaumont, Texas.
All right, I want you to be the manager. Do you tell your guys to go up there and make outs?
I say just be aggressive, overly aggressive. Swing
like
the bat.
Swing
the bat. Let's get this inning in, just like that. Double play ball. 6-4-3 double play. So they turn the double play. Runner advances to third.
You know, that could be. Miles could win a hungo for that.
For a double play.
I mean, seriously, think about it.
He's the leader so far this week.
He's the leader so far this week.
That's a hungo award. We come out on Friday night. We always talk about the positives. Folks, we're going to take you back to Tuesday, and this double play in the 5th. Have a great weekend. That's the hungo. That's what you're saying, Al.
Well, as of right now, yes, that's the leader in the clubhouse. Now, Loesch is going to get some some kudos. Look at him trying to.
There's a base hit in the right, and a run scores as the ball skips, and Gloss scores, and it's 6-0.
Apparently, he thought he needed a little more run support.
By the way, the second delay was just a mere 49 minutes. Watch how these guys are running out here. It is treacherous.
So about 2 hours and 39 minutes of rain delays, and watch the right fielder as he keeps it in front of him.
It's Turris, and they are swinging away.
Gloss. Look at that. Now that could be a candidate too, just for cleanliness.
Very nice and easy. Just step on the plate.
Don't do anything to hurt yourself.
6-0 Cardinals. Here comes an 0-1 pitch to Turris. Swing and a miss. And that's strike 2. Turris has singled and doubled and scored back in the 4th. He's 2 for 2. Here it comes, and a swing back to Sanchez. All right, we move to the bottom of the 5th. Lowe's back to work. 6-0 St. Louis. First pitch to Aaron Boone was a strike. Here comes the second. And that slices foul and out of play. If this game continues past this inning, Mr. Manager, do we expect to see Kyle Loge out there for the 6th?
No.
This is it.
This is it. Of course, it's raining again, so we haven't got through it.
Here is a liner caught by the shortstop, Turris, for the first out. The umpires wasted no time between innings trying to get Loge out there and get him going. Hey, it's time for a What's on Tap, and it's brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light keeps it coming. Todd Wellemeyer, the pitcher of the month in the National League, is on the mound tomorrow for St. Louis. The Cardinals and the Nationals in high definition. And we'll come your way at 5 o'clock. Jesus Flores. Did you bring your, let's take a look at our Chili's pitch count at 52. Did you bring your makeup for our high definition games, Al?
No. Yeah, I just brought this silly face.
Brought plenty of suits too.
Yeah, I had to go back and get some. Almost missed the plane.
It's 3-0, and tell you what, Al, I look up into the bank of lights and
see the rain.
Yeah, you see all the rain. 3-0 is the count on Flores, who is grounded out to third. He rips it into right center field. That's going to go to the wall. Couple of hops, and digging it out, it's Ludwig. So one out double by Jesus Flores.
Flores was a pretty good Rule 5 pickup for the Nationals last season. And watch Ludwig. That warning track is going to be very treacherous. Not Ludwig, but
yeah, that was Ludwig.
It is Ludwig now. That's right. Mather is now playing first.
Do the umpires call it if Lowe's can get these final 2 outs? Crowd of 26,000.
Oh, you have to wait another hour.
875.
Maybe this time it's a half hour.
The 1-0 is now 2 balls and no strikes. So 26,875 here tonight. And there's maybe about 3,000 to 5,000 left.
Who do not know where they are.
No, they don't. The best seat in the house, though, is out there in the red loft. There's cover out there. Go up a little bit. Up.
That's a red porch. Now the red loft.
There you go. They're having some fun out there. The 2-1 pitch.
And there's one person down there for you to throw your wads of paper at.
It brings good luck.
Oh, okay.
It's good luck, Al. The 3-1 is ripped into right field, base hit. They will hold the runner at third. It'll be first and third. Good throw by Ludwig. And just one out.
Umpires are trying to do everything they can to get this an official game, but let's watch Flores take his secondary lead and then trying to get traction.
So first and third, one out. Langerhans. How about a double play? That's pulled foul. The Volkswagen pitch speeds, 93 the high, the low of 75. What happened down there?
Oh, one of the fans decided to try and catch that foul ball and took a header face first into the mud.
The 0-1 pitch. Ground ball, diving stop by Miles. He'll get the out, a run will score. Good play by Aaron Miles for out number 2. And Flores scores the first run of the night for Washington. Willie Mo Pena will be the pinch hitter. Former Red. A lot of former Reds. Jim Bowden loves those guys.
Oh, yeah.
He's hitting 209 and grounds it to short. His tourist thought about going to third, hesitated, over to first. The pick by Mather and out. We played 5. We've played 5, Al. 6-1 St. Louis. We are back in Washington. It's Fred Bird Bobble Belly Day. Let's tell you about that. June 15th against Philadelphia at 1:15. It's presented by Tickets.com. And also that will be the appreciation day for Marty Hendon. North Star Ice Cream Sunday as well, when the Phillies and Ryan Howard come into town, and Chase Utley and the MVP of last year's National League, Jimmy Rollins. June 15th. Looking forward to that. Here's their lone lefty in their pen, Charlie Manning. 5 games and a 0-1 record, Al.
Yep, he just recently was brought up from Columbus on May 23rd. Toiled in the minor leagues for 7+ seasons before earning his first taste of the big leagues. Signed with the Nationals as a free agent last winter.
And it's the top of the 6th, and Barton takes a strike. Cardinals now with activity in their bullpen, so that'll be it for Loge. It's a right-hander getting loose for St. Louis.
Like Kyle McClellan.
I think so too. Works from the stretch, and an 0-1 pitch to Barton. Brian is sacrificed. He's lined into a double play and was hit by a pitch to start the game. Barton, Mather, and then we'll see Rick Ankiel. Ankiel in Pujols' spot as Albert left the game with a sore calf after he was hit by a pitch. But he wasn't hit on the calf area.
No, you see McClellan, but you have to assume that maybe on this treacherous field and little soft field that he might have pushed off one time and strained it a little bit. Probably more precaution than anything else, or at least we hope.
Barton fouls it back. White Sox over at Kansas City, 9-5. Ozzie Guillen still their manager. And they played good baseball this year. And there's a look at Loge, but yet he went off following a recent loss, and he's critical of everybody. His team wanted moves to be made. But I guess you expect, it's Ozzie being Ozzie, Al.
Oh, yes. Always with passion.
You could say that.
Yeah. Very passionate.
That's a true statement. He's something else with some of those statements. As Barton pulls it foul.
He would say it with a lot more words and color.
It was Baltimore beating Minnesota 5-3. Milwaukee wins tonight over Arizona. The big unit, Randy Johnson, now second all-time in strikeouts behind Nolan Ryan as he picked up that historic strikeout tonight. Toronto over the Yankees 9-3. Jabba Chamberlain is in the rotation, and he had 62 pitches and was lifted in the third. on a pitch count for the Yankees. Boston wins over Tampa Bay. They came back in that game 7-4. Houston holds on at PNC Park. They beat Pittsburgh 2-0. The Phillies over Cincinnati 3-2. And Barton pulls it foul again. And it was Atlanta over Florida 5-4. The Cubs, if you're wondering, trailing against San Diego 2-0, top of the fourth out west. Pedro Martinez back to the mound in San Francisco for the New York Mets. The 2-2 pitch to Barton. 3-2. That was a good pick on that play by Joe Mather, who's on deck, showing his versatility to play first base or a corner outfield spot. Cubs have been one of the hottest teams in baseball, if not the hottest.
7-0 on their homestand. And then they won last night's ball game, 26-8 at home, and then 11-13 on the road.
Get the feeling that Lou Piniella is the right guy for that job in that town.
Oh, I thought last year he was their biggest acquisition.
3-2 pitch. Why do you say that?
Oh, just because I have respect for him. I think, he's the right guy to come in there and handle things the right way. Get those guys that, maybe it's kind of a little bit, not a country club atmosphere, but bring it back to reality of just going out there and challenging people in the right way. Do whatever he has to get them to play.
Hit to short. Guzman across the diamond. The inclement weather, but yet our crew has been there every shot of the way.
Unbelievable focus they have had tonight.
We appreciate their efforts.
Now they're kind of hiding. Oh, there they are.
If you didn't bring the rain gear, you were in trouble tonight. It has been raining for hours. There's a look at Chris down there. Joe Mather has been on base tonight with a walk.
I thought it was incredible how you went down after that first rain delay and did that pep talk
with our crew.
The inspirational pep talk. I mean, you had me in tears.
And that's hard to do, Al.
It is.
Thank you.
Still trying to remember some of those quotes. They were just so inspiring.
I actually picked up some of those quotes from Vern Rapp. Maybe that's why you were crying.
Yeah.
Dave is undercover and not braving the elements like his co-workers. 2-1.
Crowd that stuck around is into this, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. You can just feel the tension even all the way up here. These are the kind of games, as a kid, I loved, because I would stay until that final out, Al, and I'd see all those people with those great seats right by the field, and I'd be able to sneak on down because they'd leave, and I'd sneak on down, and I'd have some of the best seats in the house.
All to yourself?
All to myself. Sections to myself. As Mather draws the one-out walk. This year, when you can't be home to watch the Cardinals here on FSN, check out MLB.tv, and you can go online to watch every out-of-market Cardinals game of the season live. For details, visit STLCardinals.com, where baseball is always on.
Cardinals and Rams hats there.
We always see a lot of Cardinal fans here in Washington. One out, and this is Rick Ankiel, his first plate appearance. Big swing and a miss. Ankilo's in a little bit of a funk, isn't he?
Yeah, he's had a 2-for-21 homestand, and a few of the guys kind of in a little funk and trying to battle their way out of it.
Ankiel is one of the guys that hits from this side of the plate that actually has battled left-handed pitching better than the others. Not great numbers, but certainly numbers you look at and say that's not enough to keep him out of the lineup.
Yeah, they were much better earlier in the season, but
Here's the 0-2 pitch as they set up way outside, and he strikes out.
Hit a home run off of tonight's starter in St. Louis earlier in the season.
And here is Ludwig with 2 outs and a run rate first. Cardinals leading 6-1. We were curious as to how this team would respond after a real gut-wrenching loss last night at Busch Stadium. And they have responded big time, especially early on with the first inning, 4 runs. 2 outs, run rate first. Ludwig pulls it fair, just inside the line. Mather tiptoeing his way around second base, all the way to third. You could see as he tried to make that turn, that was not an easy thing for him to do.
2 doubles tonight for Ryan Ludwig. First one produced his 43rd RBI. Look at this ball. How did that stay fair?
Looked like it immediately was going to go left.
I mean, it absolutely looked like it was going to go foul about a few feet from the bat. And somehow it took a right turn.
See Mather slip there too on the bag. Dangerous conditions right now. Ten hits for the Cardinals. Ludwig now 2 for 4. Here's Troy Gloss, who is walked and singled and scored back in the 5th. Runners at second and third in a 6-1 game. Defense really let down Washington in the first inning. Set the tone for the ball game tonight. That's a strike. Gloss shaking his head. He didn't like the call. 4 home runs on the season. 3 of the 4 have been hit against Pittsburgh. 34 RBIs. He started play tonight hitting 264, now up to 266. The 0-1 pitch to the Cardinal third baseman.
Yeah, Troy had a good month of April amongst the league leaders in doubles with 12. He currently is at still 15. So really only 3 doubles since opening month. He had 21 RBIs to lead the team.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. Even up here you can hear the distinctive voice of Mike Shannon, the radio side. We got a nice spacious booth up here, Al, and we love it here.
I feel like we're in the clouds.
The 2-1 pitch. Take it inside. It's now 3-1. 25 pitches for this left-hander here in this 6th inning. The 3-1 pitch to Gloss. And a strike on the outside corner.
Doesn't say anything, backs away. Might have had a legitimate beat, but for a long night, and the Cardinals with a 6-1 lead.
Swing the bat. Zone's going to expand. The 3-2. And Gloss flies to shallow right, and the catch is made. They will fire home, and yes, there are 3 outs. That's the second time we have seen that from the Nationals tonight. Stay with us. Coming up after the game, U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live, the post-game show completely dedicated to your team. Reporters, Brent Stover's here. He'll take you inside the clubhouse. You'll hear from the players and Tony the Russ. It's U.S. Cellular Cardinals Live after every game right here on FSN Midwest. A real valuable guy this season has been the St. Louisan, the Hazelwood area, Cal McClellan. And he'll come into the 6-1 game.
He has been so durable for a guy that, and with all the arm problems he's had, and he just is so valuable to this ball club amongst the league leaders in holds.
He fits in perfectly with those guys out there in the bullpen. So this is Felipe Lopez. Some of the fans, even up here, not happy with the way the Nats have played tonight.
Well,
maybe that's why they haven't been drawn well. Well, they've done a couple things tonight that just doesn't look good. Twice they have thrown, or rather once, we just saw it last inning, with their right fielder throwing to the plate, Casto, when there was 3 outs. He thought it was only 2. Then you had Millage, who thought, after making a catch for the 3rd and final out, that there was only 2 outs. You had the errors in the 1st inning. It just doesn't look good, and they have not hit. Only 4 hits tonight.
Just really don't look like they're into the game. Casto is just recalled today. He took the spot of Ryan Zimmerman. Manny Acta is a good, solid baseball man, been around a long time, but the fundamentals are lacking in this game at least.
2-2 the count.
Now, he does have 5 of his regulars from opening day lineup that are on the disabled list, but this is an opportunity for a lot of guys to show something, and they're not showing the promise you would like to think.
No rain right now. As we approach midnight here in Washington.
Yeah, we're going to play 9, Dan.
Yes, we will. 3-2 pitch to Lopez. Is pulled foul. They feel that the crowds will improve once school is finally out. The kids start coming out to the ballpark a little bit more.
And of course, summertime, you get a lot more tourists, but right now it's a very partisan Cardinal crowd.
And the catch made by Ricky Ankiel. So Lopez 0 for 3. Christian Guzman will be the hitter. Double back in the 1st. He's also flied out to center. Cubs in their ball game. It's in the 4th, and they trail 3-1 to San Diego. It's Jason Marquis making that start for Chicago. Lou Piniella really has not had a lot of patience for Jason Marquis. Year 2 of his deal with the Chicago Cubs.
Jason made a couple comments, and it all depends on how you want to interpret them in spring training. Wanted to be in that rotation, felt he should be in the rotation. One time looked like he was going to be the odd man out.
There's a curveball swung on and missed by Guzman.
A little harder.
McClellan, Al, let's take a look at the Hardy's hot pitch of the game from Kyle.
Kyle's got 4 quality pitches that he can throw up there. And so if one is not working, he can go to another. But there's a breaking ball. And Guzman swinging, almost losing his balance.
Here is Millage.
Swinging hard too.
Yes, he is. And McClellan has got that nasty breaking ball. One of the better curveballs out there from the bullpen. What'd you say?
I would say that.
It's tap foul for strike 2. The future for Kyle McClellan. At some point, we would anticipate that he would go to the rotation. Not this year, but maybe next or the year after. I really like him where he's at.
Well, you could do that. I mean, it all depends where they find him more valuable, but what he is doing and what he's learning this year is going to help him. Either if he moves up to a 7th, 8th inning next season, or if he goes into the rotation. He's learning that he is a bona fide major leaguer that can compete and pitch and compete very well at this level.
It's hard to believe. He was interviewed before the game by Brent. He said, well, this time last year was at high A ball. High A ball. Well, with this kind of stuff coming off that injury.
Well, that was it. I mean, really, if you took it back a couple months, he was in extended spring, and at one point even worrying about would he be released. Missed 22 months being with 2 serious elbow operations, and he and Dr. Paletta on opening day were very, very happy for each other. Dr. Paletta deserves a lot of credit for the surgeries, and then Kyle and the rehabilitation, working hard that way and getting back and being a pitcher that can compete at this level.
2-2. Millage reaches forward, slowly hit towards short. Is Turris. Another fine play. The Nationals go in order. Seventh inning coming up. It's 6-1 St. Louis. Joe Porter is tonight's merchandise winner in the Hyundai Long Drive Inning Sweepstakes. The Cardinals hit a home run. Jill qualifies for the Hyundai Sonata drawing in September. And you can still register. Visit a St. Louis area Hyundai dealer. Sal Rivera is the new pitcher.
Boy, he has a big difference between his ERA at home and on the road. I like Nationals Park, where he's 2-1 with 4 holds and a 2.37 ERA. On the road, 1-2, 2 holds and a 7.71 ERA.
The 1-1 pitch to Yadier Molina. Hits it into deep left field. That'll stay in the ballpark near the track. And the catch is made as Molina has 2 base hits tonight. You ready to go pitch by pitch?
Oh, yeah.
Brought to you by Chevrolet.
Fastball on the outside, gets strike 1. See bottom drop out of that one. Fastball running in on him, and Molina hit it well, and I'm sure Ricky Horton will talk about his first at bat, the 3-run home run, and part of our Cardinals Live. They'll be ready for that game, won't they?
Oh yeah. That's 2 outs, and Miles is 2 for 4. A couple of infield hits. He's grounded into the double play, and now is grounded out to short. And the pinch hitter will be Adam Kennedy.
I was thinking you were going to say it's about 2 hours away from Cardinals Live.
This is going to have a nice pace to it, Al. Nice finish to it. And the first pitch to Kennedy is taken for a ball. Russ Springer is getting loose in the bullpen for the Cardinals. 5-run lead here in the 7th. And Kennedy is one of those players that has been in a funk. He's also really hit into some tough luck, despite the fact that his average has plummeted. He's had a lot of hard outs. Tony La Russa was talking about that the other day. They need to try to get him going, and Kennedy talked about the fact that he realizes he's probably not an everyday player, especially with the way that Tony uses him against left-handed pitching.
I think Tony kind of envisioned that, and with the start that he got off to, he pretty much was an everyday, but right now he's fallen into a platoon.
And misses, and it's 3-1 on Adam Kennedy.
And that's part of the problem when you get some of these left-handed bats that are struggling a little bit. Hard to get at bats when you're facing so many left-handed starting pitchers.
And Kennedy flies out to center. Millage is there. Cardinals go in order. Time to stretch. It's been a long night here in Washington. It's 6-1 St. Louis. Cardinals with 10 hits tonight as we move to the bottom of the 7th. Couple of long rain delays. And they lead this ball game 6-1. A new pitcher in for St. Louis. Takes over for Kyle McClellan. There's a look at the Pentagon. We stay at Pentagon City here in Washington. I'm sure Al has been to the Pentagon a number of times.
As a visiting diplomat and an admiral in the Hungarian Navy, yes.
There's Russ Springer. 19th appearance for Russ. We had quite an experience here a couple of years ago with the St. Louis Blues.
Yeah, you got a chance to go over there, right?
Yeah.
Take a tour.
Private tour and meet with some of the folks there. It was outstanding. There's a strike. You know, the Kansas
Jayhawks were
honored today.
Yeah. Went to the White House, and the president acknowledged their championship.
Rock Chalk Jayhawk.
Have they ever won any other than this year, Kansas?
National championships?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I thought so, but you know, I thought Mike Helling would scream in our ear for asking that question.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. And a base hit. What is Rock Chalk Jayhawk?
It is something that we cannot talk on Family Show.
What is it? No, I don't get it.
I will make a call to Randy Weedle.
Okay.
One of Jayhawks' biggest supporters and fans.
And they were honored today. Here is Aaron Boone. Boone. High fly ball near the line, and the catch made by Barton. Dimitri threatens to tag up from first to second, but he's back to the bag. Sunday, it's the groundbreaking Emmy Award-winning show that combines sports and science. Who are the highest flyers in sports? Is hang time a myth or reality? From elite NFL receivers to NBA skywalkers. Human flight, is it possible? Sports science this weekend.
Seems like it's only Cardinal fans.
You are correct, Al.
Down behind home plate and around the dugout.
There's a good tight breaking ball from Russ Springer to Jesus Flores. He's 1 for 2. And he scored the only run of this ball game for Washington back in the 5th.
Pretty good Rule 5 selection, wasn't he?
Yes. Casto is on deck, and then Langerhans, if they can extend the inning. The 0-1 pitch. That's strike 2. Cardinals with activity in their bullpen. And a little activity, a right-hander throwing for Washington in theirs.
Looks like Valone in the Cardinal bullpen. Probably wouldn't be a bad time to get Worrell his major league debut, would it?
No, I think that'd be the perfect time. 6-1 game. I'm sure he is just itching to get out there and just get it over with. Get that debut under his belt. Strikeout for Springer. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Slippery footing up here, huh, Dan?
Here is Casto. And a curveball just missed in. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Voice a little higher.
It's always nice to have a partner that watches your back. It's close to midnight here on the East Coast. The 1-1 pitch.
No, you've never been up this late on the East Coast, have you?
No. No, Al. Cities like New York, certainly here in Washington, you get done with the game and it's time to go review it. Back at the hotel room, we've got our broadcast meetings. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Corey Casto. Springer is trying to send us to the 8th. 2-2. Hey, you watch Russ Springer, he still gets it up around 93, 94 miles an hour at the age of 38. And he says physically he feels great. The 2-2 pitch. This tourist can just step on the bag, and he will. We have played 7 here in Washington. It's 6-1 Cardinals. Our Geico quote from slugger Albert Pujols: "In my heart and mind, I know I can hit anybody. I'm always relaxed. It's hard to explain. It's like playing with my kids. It feels natural." Our Geico quote from Albert Pujols, who had to leave our game with a sore calf. We don't think it's serious.
No, we don't think so, but tighten up on him a little bit.
Here is Isturis. Isturis with a couple of base hits, a single, a double, a run scored. And he has been busy at short tonight. The 1-1 pitch to Isturis, taken a little high. We're underway here in the top of the 8th. Cardinals with a 6-1 lead. Todd Wellemeyer going tomorrow night. John Lannon will throw for Washington, and then Mike Parisi. There's a little bit of a debate as to whether or not to give Parisi that start after what took place over the weekend. Cardinals were blown out 14-4, and he went 2 2/3. But Parisi will get his second start against Tim Redding, who is 6-3. He's been a bright spot for the Nets.
He's right there is Luis Ayala. He's now pitching. He's their longest tenured player. He's been around since '03 with the Nats.
Isturis into shallow center field, and it's off the glove of Guzman. And a base hit, and the third hit of the night for the Cardinals shortstop.
That's right.
It's a tough play to go out with your back to the infield and off his glove.
Goes up there and gets out there to it, but can't haul it in.
Barton will dig in for the 5th time tonight. He's been hit by a pitch, lined into a double play, sacrificed, and grounded out to short. And it's back to the pitcher. He'll go to second for one, on to first, and a double play. 1-6-3. Tuesday, June 17th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older receive a one-of-a-kind replica ticket from Game 1 of the 1968 World Series. This is where it gets better, though. Hidden amongst those 25,000 replica tickets will be 17 painted gold and autographed by Cardinals Hall of Famer Bob Gibson. For ticket information, visit stocardinals.com.
Why 17?
'68 World Series, the strikeout.
Oh, this thing. Now, see, I knew it. Ask you to come up with an answer.
Okay.
I guess I had to listen to the whole promo. Maybe it'd be self-explanatory.
I hear what you're saying, Al. Glad that you've listened in the last 6 nights that we've done that promo.
I knew there were 17 of them, but I didn't really listen to it. And now I know.
Now it makes sense. It's all tied in. And it's 3-0 on Mather with Rick Ankiel on deck. Joe Mather, a couple more walks tonight. Also made a really nice play defensively over at first base. Started the night in right field. And that pitch is a strike, 3-1. As you talked about, Al, Chris Duncan is down in the minor leagues. There was some thought that be about 10 days and then he'd be back up in the major leagues. But the way Mather has played, it's tough to say goodbye to him. And that's taken low. 3rd walk of the night for Joe Mather.
Now, since Mather's been here, he's walked 3 times and struck out 3 times. You have to stay down for a minimum of 10 days, and so he'll be down there, but they're hoping he'd get his batting stroke.
Here's Rick Ankiel, who struck out his first time up. He is in Pujols' spot in the lineup. Pujols was 0 for 2 and was hit by a pitch.
Their pinch ran for him.
The 0-1. Ankiel hits it sharply to second, handled easily by Lopez. And that's out number 3 here at the top of the 8th. 6-1 St. Louis. There's a look at Ron Vallone, and it's 6-1 St. Louis as we move to the bottom of the 8th. And one of the things I'm sure we'll probably talk about is that home run by Yadier Molina earlier tonight. We'll talk about that tomorrow as Vallone appearing for the 23rd time. And he could be used in a variety of ways. Middle relief. And Wake up, my man. I know it's a little bit late. How about the young lady in the back? Yeah.
Right on cue. He woke up. Maybe.
But Malone has really had a valuable role so far.
Absolutely. He really had about 3 games that kind of got away from him. But more times than not, he's just gone out there and done the job. Be much more than just retiring the left-handed batter. He can get these righties out.
And that just missed outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Langerhans.
Cardinals are his 11th club, major league club in his career, and he's had every variety. Been a starter, he's been pitching late innings, been a specialist, spot starter.
Elijah Dukes is on deck. 2 balls, 1 strike. Chased a ball and a strikeout. John Roush is getting loose in the bullpen for Washington.
Upstairs, he chases it. High levels, you see it, but you either swing through it or you pop it up.
Cardinals have used Springer, McClellan, and 5 innings from their starter, Kyle Loge.
Yeah, but talk about Loge with 2 lengthy rain delays. Gutted his way through the 5 innings and really was only inning he had any problem in was the 5th.
Dukes is only hitting 148. A lot of people felt that this guy was going to be a star. Still very young, so plenty of time. As the Cubs in the 5th, their game out west, they've tied it up 3-3 against San Diego. The 2-0 pitch to Dukes, way outside.
In a perfect world, guys just come to the big leagues and never have to go back, or stardom is achieved right away. But the reality is a lot of guys go up and down for a couple of years before they establish themselves, and it's just more normal than a guy having a career like Pujols.
It's 4 straight to Dukes, who spent last season with Tampa Bay, only hit 190 in 52 games. He is regarded certainly as one of the best athletes in the major leagues, and was one of the top prospects for Tampa Bay, but couldn't put things together on the field or off it. He's a big guy, 6'1", 240 pounds, and he stands at first, and this is Lopez. Lopez, tough night on the field and at the plate. He is fly to left, fly to center, and struck out. 0 for 3.
One of the more memorable games for Felipe.
This guy was an all-star one year.
That's right. Playing with Cincinnati.
Played shortstop at that time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wonder if Malone ever played with Lopez. I think he did.
He played with everybody.
A lot of teams, as you mentioned.
One away from Mike Morgan's 12.
Here's the check on Dukes. Down by 5 runs, probably not going anywhere.
Well, you would, if you're a Cardinal fan, you would prefer him to run. Wet, sloppy track, and the cannon that Molina possesses. Good combo for another out.
Fouled back. Bill Hall a little upset with his role with Milwaukee, and his agent says he wants to be traded. Does not want to be a platoon player.
And it's the way how you try to achieve winning for the first time, right?
Here's a 1-2 pitch. He also said, I don't want to be a distraction in the clubhouse, but the minute it becomes public, it's a distraction. 2-2.
And even if it doesn't become public, it's a distraction in the clubhouse.
Sure. Players know what's going on. They talk. Count even on Lopez. One out, runner at first. The 2-2 pitch. A fly ball out to right. Catch made by Ludwig for out number 2. Back to first is Dukes. And it brings in Guzman.
Christian had the first hit for the Nationals. Double back in the first inning. Wild pitch to third base with just one out. But Loesch pitched around that. Didn't give up a run until the 5th.
And with 2 outs, the pitch is drilled out to left field. But that should stay in the ballpark, and it will as Barton is there. 9th inning coming up from Washington. You ready for the game recap? Well, here we go. Brought to you by Jack in the Box. With Dallas Perez hours ago made the start for Washington. The Cardinals jumped on top 4-0 after 1 inning of play. They lead it now 6-1. A couple of long rain delays. That was a double play lined into by Barton. Cal Loesch gave the Cardinals 5 innings tonight. He is in line for the victory. We've seen McClellan pitch, Malone pitch, Springer pitch, and Cardinal fans, that's what's left of this crowd here in Washington. John Roush is the pitcher. 12 saves and 14 opportunities. Needs a little work. So he comes into the ball game. You mentioned their normal closer is hurt.
Yeah, Cordero's hurt. And Roush has done a nice job going in that spot. Roush is, as you said, converted 9 saves in as many appearances, thanks in part to his 150 batting average against. Strikeout ratio is 7-1.
Let's strike 2 on Ludwig, who picked up an RBI back in the first. And Ludwig now with 43. He's got a couple of base hits as well.
Roush's last 4+ appearances, he's retired 15 straight batters. 16 now.
There's Troy Gloss with 1 out, nobody on. Roush is a big man, isn't he?
Yes, he is. What's he listed at? 6'7". Or is he bigger than that?
I believe he's bigger than that.
Yes, he's 6'10".
Loss.
6'11".
Pops it up. Is there a play? No.
6'11", 283 pounds. He's from Louisville, Kentucky, but what's basketball?
He didn't play basketball in Kentucky. One ball, 1 strike on Troy Gloss. It's a nasty pitch right there.
Roush's tallest player in Major League history.
One-two pitch.
Morehead State.
Cubs and Padres tied up 3-3 in the 5th. And Gloss strikes out. Two for 4 is Yadier Molina. I would anticipate we talk about Yadier Molina tomorrow. What he does defensively and offensively.
Well, that's the thing. You know, everybody knows about Molina's defense, but his offense is just, you know, coming into his own. Base hit right here would push Molina up to 300. See the catcher. Flores was standing up, trying to get a 6'11" pitcher to throw the ball up.
The pickoffs, the steals, the attempted steals that he always is able to catch. Doesn't strike out very often, hitting close to 300.
And he's got 22 RBIs, 14 of them have come with 2 outs.
The postseason run was so big for him. 2006.
3 RBIs and 15 have come with 2 outs.
1 and 2.
Generational gap there, Dan.
The 1-2. And it's spoiled by Molina. They scramble for it. And he just threw it on the field.
Zimmerman just threw that ball out on the field. What's he doing? Time's called is.
Even the security people have just said the heck with it. Yeah, let him watch the last half inning. Molina spoils that pitch. How many people left right now, Al? What do you think, 1,500?
No, not that many.
And it's 2-2.
Seven, 8, 9, 10.
Spoiled again by Yadier Molina.
People that work with us have the worst handwriting I've ever seen.
I can't read that either. Okay, the 2-2 pitch to Molina. Popped up on the infield. Guzman has it. Sends us to the bottom of the 9th. Pump it up, Al. It's 6-1. Cardinals baseball on FSN Midwest is brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Live life to the ultra. By Chevrolet. See for yourself. Shop and compare at STLChevy.com. And by Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good. 6-1. St. Louis over Washington, and always fun to see a major league debut. And the rain has started to fall again, and Mark Worrell, the 25-year-old, will make his debut. Recalled prior to Sunday's game when Kelvin Jimenez was optioned. And he will be making his major league debut here tonight. Appeared in 21 games for Memphis. He was 1-1 with an ERA under 2. A A AAA All-Star last season in Memphis. Led his league in saves both in 2005 and 2006. He was the minor league pitcher of the year in 05. By the way, no relation to former Cardinals closer Todd Worrell. And Mark was saying he gets asked that question constantly.
He's very unorthodox. He has the submarine style, so he's very tough on the right-handed batters. And as he goes higher up, you know, you'll find him be more of a situational guy.
Even for being a submariner, that's still, you know, some guys they drop so far down. His approach to the plate is odd.
Yes, so it's, you know, it's the deception, and only facing him one time in a game, you know, you kind of get fooled a little bit.
With a shallow right center field and a base hit. Stay tuned. Cardinals Live, presented by U.S. Cellular. The post-game show is coming up.
Oh, it's not even late back home.
Not at all.
Guys will be full of energy, dissect this game. They'll be carving up Dimitri Young and tell you what he's done with his 1-for-3 night. We hit into a double play here.
Cardinals, boy, they've had a bunch of major league debuts this year, haven't they?
It's the 7th one.
I believe so. This is number 7, and yet the Cardinals, if they can hold on, go to 10 games above 500.
For the 4th time, but they've never been beyond it.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Mark is 7th Cardinal to make his major league debut. 2nd player from the Cardinals 2004 draft class to make it to the majors. Parisi was the other.
I've got news for you, Al.
Yes.
Shortly, it is going to pour here in Washington.
Oh, I know. It's raining, and you know, we played this long, so I mean, we could endure another rain delay if we have to.
No doubt. You'd stay all night.
We'd stay all night for a victory.
Absolutely.
I don't have to go play Congressional until in the morning. No place to go. We might. Are we going to go to the production meeting tonight or not?
I believe that will be postponed. The production meeting has been postponed following tonight's game. So you can be tucked in, Al, and ready to go for your big day tomorrow.
And they must have known I had a bunch of complaints when I bring up things. Very topical. So they canceled it on me.
You get pretty boisterous up here about certain things. If you don't get them, you get pretty upset. Replays and whatnot. 2-2 pitch. Worrell would love the double play. Here comes the 3-2. And he may get it. That's 1. And that is 2. Double play for 6-3.
Roll back the tape. I predicted it earlier.
It's the kind of thing we would bring up in the production meeting. Let's meet our Budweiser great player of the game. And Molina sets the tone with this 3-run shot in the first to make it 4-0 Cardinals.
2 outs for Molina. Got another base hit back in the 5th inning, and as usual, guides the pitching staff to, well, we hope, 1 more out and a Cardinal victory.
Oh, baby, here comes the rain again.
And Worrell was a member of the gold medal winning U.S. Junior National team in 2001. The team also consisted of current major leaguers Jeff Francoeur, Houston Street, and B.J. Upton.
Well, this is one of the oddest motions I've ever seen. Talking about Mark Worrell making his major league debut. The 2-0 pitch. That's in there for a strike.
These Cubbies keep on coming as De La Rosa hits a 2-run home run. Cubs now lead 6-3 over San Diego.
Really flies open his left shoulder, his front shoulder.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of that odd where you think he's going to go to it and almost steps towards first base. And then he jumps at the hitter, so there's a lot of deception. Cardinal fans have been richly rewarded with this game, or they get a third rain delay on top of it.
The 2-2 pitch, and it's just a little bit low.
And Demuth was still a very tight strike zone.
That's me, Al. We're out of here.
I knew what you were
punching him
how
out.
you had umpired that final pitch of the game, right?
You wouldn't believe my strike zone. The 3-2, and he walked him. You know who's watching our ball game tonight? Former Blue Dallas Drake, who's with the Red Wings.
Really?
Trying to win a Stanley Cup.
Nothing better to do?
Getting his rest and watching a little baseball. Big Cardinal
Good luck
fan.
to Dallas.
Yeah. No balls and a strike on Jesus Flores. 11 hits for the Cardinals tonight, 6 for the Nationals. 6-1 St. Louis, and the 0-1 pitch is pulled foul, 0-2. Telling you what, this motion is odd. This is where I wish we had the super slow-mo camera to really see it. Left shoulder flies open. That lead shoulder. He wears number 67, making his major league debut tonight, Mark Worrell. And the 0-2. Out to left center field. Barton makes the play on the run. Great catch. And the final 6-1 in favor of St. Louis. It's a heck of a play there by Brian Barton to end this game.
He's really improved over the course of this year defensively.
His catch at the Bud Light sign. Hey, stay with us. It's the post-game show coming up next. 6-1, our final in Game 1.